Welcome to Road to the Final. Let's get to it. Beautiful people, what's happening? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is LaBelle. Today, we have new foot items. A nice little colorful collective. If you want these players in your rewards instead of the team of the week, drop a like on the video. As per usual, it is free to subscribe. And what are your thoughts? We got some interesting player selection. Not only the personnel, but the ratings, the scaling, the growth potential. That was a lot. The wordplay is going to be on point today. I can already tell you ahead of time, when the vibes are heavy hitting, punching bag, Mike Tyson, put me in the ring, YouTubers don't want this work. I'm not sure who would be a good matchup either. I'm like 6'1", 195. I suppose if I was boxing, I'd come down maybe a little bit in weight, maybe get down to 190, potentially. Without further ado. Also, I made 4 tiers. This is the new one right here. I have an upper mid tier. At this point in promos, we're really not gonna have a lot of discard. So got rid of the discard, added an in-betweener for the mid, the top, we got upper mid. Understood. Or lower top, however you would prefer it. Tell us. Where do I want to place this jet? Also, there will be movement as a disclaimer at the end of the video, so don't go anywhere. This is the first run through, then we're gonna reevaluate as we do. Tellus has never been one of my favorite players. Just hasn't resonated with how I incorporate, how I express, how I prefer my wingers. I mean wing backs. I'm still gonna leave him in the top tier at the moment. I think he deserves to be a little bit above the upper mid. Definitely not a god tier player for yours truly. Vardy, let's go. Am I giving out god tier status this early? I don't know. It's too early in the game. It's only our second player selection. But I do have to compare Vardy with Tellus. Is there a big gap there? And if there is, then somebody gotta move. Gareth Bale. This is really tricky because I like Gareth Bale. I'm happy to have a more usable or viable item in FIFA 22, finally. However, he would be top tier if you're playing him as a center mid, but then he has 73 stamina, which is not viable or possible or feasible. It's a lot of different words and adjectives that we're inserting to describe. Did I mention the wordplay was coming in on something extra premium? He's just not going to be able to impact the game in that position. So what are you really getting here? Is this a glorified super sub? You're limited. I need more dynamic characteristics. I'm happy that the stats have been allocated differently. Big upgrades, massive improvements. But overall, with the stamina's that low and you know he's gonna turn kind of strange side to side lateral movement, it will not be crisp or clean or that responsive. Bowen into the middies. I'm just not excited. He's not going to shift any teams that I've put together, that I've built, that I've constructed. And the reality is, squads are starting to look insane. When I go into rivals, when I go into the weekend league, I think I built a decent road to glory team. I got a lot of big name players. I got high risers, in behinders, through ball aficionados. And frankly speaking, my team just doesn't measure up that well. Especially when I get into my last 7-8 games of the weekend, or even going into any rivals games at this point. Quadrado. I love Quadrado. He's got a chance to go to the god tier, depending how you play, what you're looking for. Pretty special wingback. He's gonna have those skills. He's gonna have the ability to kind of float forward, to give you certain animations and comfort levels on the attacking side of the pitch you don't always get, and he's gonna have that zoom speed. Everything has been upgraded. You see the stats. I like those. Did I mention that this is not based on growth? Because I can't speak on something that hasn't happened. I could project, we could manifest, but I just feel that it's unfair to the video to have that included as part of the criteria or the judgment between players. And if I'm missing any road to the final players, they might not have came out yet by the time this is being recorded. Work with me or ask me in the comments, make a statement. Gomez, I like him. I'm a fan. Still don't think you can get above that upper mid. If you like Messi, you're also gonna share that opinion with Gomez. Maybe you should even make a little more of an argument for the top tier, but this is not an item that is good even as the baseline Messi. No surprises there, stat-wise. Always been the cheap man's Messi. And I'm not saying the game passed him up, but I'm not sure that he's as competitive as he would have been at a different stage. Havertz. Ooh, I'm not sure if I want him in the mids or the upper mids. I feel my first instinct is to go UMT. I don't know if that worked or not, but upper mid tier. I'm not sure where you're going to play him. Can't be a center mid unless maybe you're playing a narrow formation and you need him to be an attacking option. Doesn't have a big body type. I don't like him as a winger. I really don't like him up front. He's not a specialist with number 10-esque type of qualities or characteristics. So you're limited. You have an in-betweener. What's his best position? Let me know. If you've been using him or where you think you could play him, I'm listening. Big Illy. Big body. Also in the mid-tier. Just doesn't fit the game. Not meta. No disrespect. I don't want to take anything away from what he can and does accomplish on the actual pitch, but virtually a little more limited. Kamara. Some of you might move this a little bit, but I don't know why. It's got to be a mid-tier from a first impression. All day, every day. Pretty standard on paper. Kimpembe, let's go. Welcome. God tier, official. You knew that before we even got started. Perhaps the most overpowered baseline or lower rated player that we've seen with the 83 overall, his standard foot item. I still see him used, which for me is kind of incredible, a little bit remarkable, and I'm still surprised. I don't know that I would stretch his 83 into being weekend league approved at this point of FIFA, but I get it. The point is, Kimpembe gets busy. He's a savage of the back line, and now we have the boosted version. Extra juice. Stirred, not shaked, or both of them. I don't know, but that's where he has to be. And next to him, back-to-back, Llorente, now with the 4-star. Ooh. And already has a proof of track record, proof of concept, box-to-box greatness. Can push a certain agenda, a narrative, a storyteller. I like Llorente a lot. And I feel you can probably pick up this guy at a reasonable price point, especially if you wait a little bit. There's going to be some room for interpretation again. I can see the market moving or flexing in a favorable way for Llorente. If that's someone you need, La Liga, center mid, bang, bang. I suppose they should be pointing here. There. Chucky Lozano. Does he get into the top tier? Or are we going to leave that weak foot as too big of a hindrance? Makes him a little too one-dimensional. I feel better at the upper mid tier. He's going to be a brilliant super sub, as we've always seen. Also, Lozano, generally speaking, plays better than his stats. So if you want to have a little movement here, I would understand the argument. Sadio Mane, straight to the God tier. Often, I don't want to say disrespected or disregarded, but somewhat overlooked in FIFA. Because statistically it's right, his performance is also right, it aligns. He doesn't have fraudulent or fake stats, but maybe due to nationality or just personal preference, I don't always see him used in that many squads. But undoubtedly, for my argument, God tier. He needs to join the Kimpembes and Llorentes. That feels proper. That's the collective. Martinez. This is tricky. He could easily be upper mid tier. He could easily be top tier, just depending on how he actually performs. Statistically speaking, and I really need more time. So do you. You can play a few games, but with center backs in particular, you need those 20 or 30 matches, especially when you're dealing with testing versus upper level defending. So going up against some of the best attackers in a competitive environment. Maybe a little less than that. You can probably do 15 or 20 games. But weekend league matches will really tell you a lot from a depth perspective. But if you like Koundé, Martinez is so similar on paper. 5'10". I don't love that. I don't think he's going to be as overpowered as Koundé. I'm going to move him to upper mid. If you disagree or agree, perfect. Let me know. We have a discussion board. Renato Sanchez. I would even go as far as saying he's the best of the God tier options. Even with Kimpembe sitting there. Renato is unstoppable. Relentless. He's a destroyer. Have you ever played the game Battleship? Pick some positions. Good luck to you. Box to box. And he's this combination. He's a hybrid of being somewhat of a maestro now with all these upgrades, but then of course also having every gladiator statistic that you could ask for. And he's part of this new pusher. Renato, you can argue, is even better than Ruud Gullit. Definitely at least at the same type of positioning. And this year, as good as Ruud Gullit is, with the options that we have, the depth for this position in particular, he's just not needed in the same way. The level of priority to Gullitism, yes, I just made that up, is much lower in FIFA 22 than any previous installment. You can quote me. Put that on a shirt. Smalling. Smaldini. Not today. I actually don't love the way this foot item looks at all. When you're analyzing or taking a deeper dive with the acceleration, the agility, and the balance, it's not great. It's not. That 80 pace is going to be absolute frauds. I believe there's some misleading statistics that will have you assuming he's more usable than he actually is. Sanchez, one of the better value players. Very affordable, maybe only going to get more affordable. I want him in the top tier, I do, but the FIFA enthusiast in me kind of says he has to earn that. I don't know if I feel comfortable putting him in the top tier without some serious minutes. Tolisso also gonna join Sanchez in the upper mids. The Frenchman, 83 stamina to go with not having the skill moves and not having some of the added benefits that you'd like with your midfielders. And then Jamie Vardy, always having a party, well respected, fantastic striker. Quite brilliant in many regards, so consistent. In FIFA, he'll always be one-sided, sort of. If you're doing through balls and sending it deep, YOLO-esque style of gameplay, Vardy is there, he can finish. But when you're looking at the additional build-up, needing some of the details, the particulars, the intricacies, Vardy always comes up short. That's my opinion. Let's review this tier system. We can start at the top, and I don't see the big four. There's no downward negative. I wanted to say rejectory because the trajectory is going up, but I just don't think that's the word at all. I guess if you are a reject, you would be moving down, but you can't talk about the God tier like that. As for the top tier, a little more debatable. I don't feel that this group should have any upward movement. Maybe Quadrado, and definitely not going down. I like Telles here, Fati, Quadrado, they stand out for me. Now, with the upper mid, there could be a little bit more interpretation, subjectivity. I'm still itching for Chucky Lozano to come up. Even Gomez, I've used Gomez a lot this year. I enjoy who he is and how he operates. I just got to put these guys side by side. And of course, there's some room to debate, but I'm okay with my upper mid tier. I don't see this group going down. I don't really see them going up until proven differently, and then the mid tier is not shifting one way or the other. All four of these players really stand out as being middle of the road. You don't need to have them. What are your thoughts? If you've enjoyed the content, make sure to drop some love on the video. And as per usual, I got a lot more coming out ASAP.